Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Tuesday, September 29th, 2020, and we are again on the final hour of the trading day. The final hour of the trading day, and in particular, the last few minutes of the day are my favorite times to make my buying and selling decisions for my swing trades. During the day, you have the algorithms and the day traders. They are the ones that are in control of the price. They're the ones moving the price around. At the end of the day, in that last hour, especially in the last few minutes, the large financial institutions come in. They're dealing with a lot of size. They're buying and selling lots and lots and lots of shares. That takes control of the price away from the day traders and algorithms and moves it. I consider them to be the smartest people on the street. They're dealing with the most money, very smart people, best technology, best information. And in my opinion, following what the large financial institutions do at the end of the day is an advantage for you. So that's why I prefer to make my buying and selling decisions at the end of the day. So thank you all for coming today. It's always nice to see everyone. I'm always appreciative that we have such a great group, such great input, and people contributing to the channel. I really do appreciate that. Currently, the Dow is down 69 points, down 0.25%. The NASDAQ is now down 4.05, down 0.04, and the S&P is down 7.90, down about 0.25%. We were green, I believe, on the NASDAQ a little bit earlier. So tonight we have the presidential debate. I don't know how much influence that's going to have on the market. I would imagine if it's one of the candidates has a strong debate compared to the other, I imagine that's going to have some kind of effect, but I'm not sure. I'm just kind of guessing, but it seems like logic would dictate that that's the case. So be careful. Of course, be careful every day. So here is the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. After that, I've had some day trades that I'm going to share with you. After that, we're going to go over the list of your current trades, and I see some really good ones on there. Excited to go through those and take a look. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I have taken a look at Kamal scanners and some potential end of day trades. I have 3 requirements whenever I look to enter a trade. First requirement, I want to make sure I have a good I want to have a good confluence or combination of indicators lining up, indicating to me that there is buying going on based upon different indicators such as MACD, RSI, moving averages. I look at each one of these indicators as potential groups of buyers, and you'll put yourself in a much better position to have a profitable trade. You'll increase the chances, I should say, if you're in the company with as many other buyers. If you're the only buyer and everyone else is selling, that's going to be tough to make any money to the long side. So logic would dictate you want to be in the company with as many other buyers. So looking for a confluence or combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames, ideally if possible. Requirement number 2, I want to make sure I have a good risk to reward based upon strong support below me and based upon likely resistance above me. I want to, if I'm going to risk $100, I want to be able to make sure I can make at least 200 or more to the upside, so you can get that asymmetrical risk to reward going on. And the number 3, always please keep in mind how many positions you have, how much account heat you have, how much correlation you have in your holdings. Ideally, you're better off having a diversified portfolio of your trades, different industries, and even going outside of equities such as bonds and gold and silver and so forth. All right, so I'm going to go through the watch list. I'll narrow it down. I'll try to find the very, very best one, keeping in mind those 3 requirements at the end of the day. And if I find something that looks good, I will go ahead and buy it right near the close. After the market closes, if anybody has any questions for me, please let me know. If you need any clarification on anything, please let me know. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to look at before the close of the day, put them in the chat. put a star or an asterisk by it so I know it's time sensitive, and I will do my very best to get to them before the close. And then after the close, if you have any new entries or exits today, if you could please hold off until the end of the day to let me know what your new entries or exits are. That way the pressure's off, the market's closed, I'm done teaching, I'm done trading, and we'll spend as much time as it takes to get those all up there and correct. Okay, so I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. I'll be back in about 40 seconds, so hang tight. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's take a look and see who is here. Mohammed is here. Hey, Mohammed, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a bit. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great day or evening. Thank you for coming. Kamal is here. Hey, Greg and gang. Hey, Kamal. Kamal's had some good trades today. We're going to be taking a look at those. Evan is here. Good afternoon to you as well, Evan. Miko25 is here. Hello, Greg and all. Hi, Miko. Good to see you, my friend. Bob says hello, everyone. Hi, Bob. Dan gives a peace sign. Peace right back at you. Tracy Peterson. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. If Paxton's with you, please give him my best. Gary says hello, Greg and group. Hi, Gary. Good to see you. Frank says hello, Greg and group. Hello, Mr. Frank. Good to see you, my friend. Always nice. Always a privilege to have, honor and a privilege to have you in here. Really, really appreciate those poems. Frank says a September to remember. Yeah, it's been an interesting one, hasn't it? Okay, well, let's get to it. Etsy. Looks like Frank. Oh, I put Etsy in here. I can't, I put Etsy in instead of their name. I have a habit of doing that. Quad. Frank is in a half, Quad's in a half. I'm not sure who my Etsy person is. I apologize about that. I did buy Etsy yesterday when we had the 520 crossover. This is a good back-tested result. Doesn't work every single trade, but it does have an edge. I bought it here yesterday at 123.72. It is down 53 cents, down 0.43%. Now, when I take a crossover trade, I have an exit. My exit strategy to the downside is called the 50-50. We took the trade when the 5 crossed over the 20. If the price actually closes below both the 5 and the 20, I will get out of half. If the 5 EMA actually crosses under the 20, I will get out of the second half. Sometimes they happen both on the same day. Sometimes they happen on different days. Of course, I have my emergency stop. My emergency stop is always 2 ATRs from my entry. So that's down here. And then that way, close enough. If it were to ever come down here, I would not wait till the end of the day. I would just get out immediately because I know how much I'm going to lose if I hit my emergency stop. I'm going to take my maximum allowed loss on any one trade. Good rule of thumb is like 1% of your capital. So if you're trading $100,000, 1% would be 1,000. I would take 1,000. I would divide it by the value of the 2 ATR, which in this case is 1736. So that way, if it does get down to my maximum allowed stop, I know exactly how much I'm losing. Now, of course, it could gap down below. Could do that. It's unlikely, but it happens every once in a while, and sometimes just going to have to deal with that. But the majority of time, if it comes down to my maximum loss, I know exactly how much I'm going to lose. And most likely, your end of day stop, or in this case, the 50-50 end of day stop will happen before that happens. But you have to have an uncle point so that if you do get down there, you know that you're wrong and you know how much you've lost. So, I would really say be very comfortable with what you say your maximum allowed loss is. In my opinion, people will say, oh yeah, I can take a $2,000 loss. Well, if they really have to take a $2,000 loss, it's pretty hard on them. I think it might destabilize them. In my experience, whatever anyone tells me is their maximum allowed loss, 50% is probably the correct amount of that. So if they're saying 2,000, maybe 1,000 is. So anyway, down a little bit today, but the price is still above the 5 and the 20. The 5 is still above the 20. So I will just be holding this. Crossover trades, moving average crossover trades, they're like trend trades. So I give them a little bit more room to breathe. SPY. I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. This is based upon a long-term backtest study from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. Since 1993, they tested 2 approaches. Approach number 1, buy the SPY at the open, hold it through the entire day, sell at the close. If you use this approach every day since 1993, you've returned a negative 13.9%. But if you do the opposite approach, which is what I use, buy the SPY at the close, hold it overnight, take the overnight risk, sell it first thing the next morning. This approach gained 634.2% return. So a big difference between negative 13.9 and positive 634.2. Doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, but if I'm going to allocate money towards a trade, it's going to be towards something that has good back-tested results. Blue line, buy the close, sell the next morning. Orange line, buy the morning, sell the close. Not even close. The blue line definitely outperforms the orange line in a big, big way, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies. You can have significant drawdowns, multi-year drawdowns. Think of this as owning the S&P, being a buyer of the S&P 500, which of course you're going to have big swings either way. But in my case, I'm doing that, but I'm only holding it overnight, not during the day. And if you are considering using that approach, use a very conservative position size. I would, very conservative would be like maybe a 5% position size of your total capital, not your risk, but your total capital. Okay, so this was kind of a nothing burger. I bought it yesterday at the close at 334.19. I sold it this morning at 334 even, so I did lose I did lose 19 cents on the trade. But yesterday, or Friday to Saturday, had a huge gain, which was really nice. And I'm getting pretty close to even using this in 2020, which I would have never thought I would ever say, because at the beginning of the year, it was brutal. Okay, this was the overnight SPY trade. Let me take you over to, I also took another crossover trade on SPY. I took a half position. I took it when the 1050 EMA crossed over. This does also back test well. I bought it here at 333.82. The price, it's down a little bit. It's down 0.33%. The price is still above the 10 and the 50, and the 10 is still above the 50. So it is slightly down on the trade, but I just explained over on Etsy what my exit approach is going to be. So steady as she goes here. Steve has this trade, Brian has this trade, and Dan has this trade. Zynga has been quite the trade. Gary and Quad and myself, we did buy Zynga back here at $8.36. We had a nice bottoming process. We stabbed down to a new low. We had a breakout to the downside, but then we reversed under 30, over 30, plus a V1, false breakout to the downside. Bought it here at 836, and this has just gone up nicely. I did get out of half of my position on this bar here on the 23rd when it rejected the 50 RSI, but I kept the other half. I will be getting out of another half of this position here today because it's rejected the 50-day moving average. So as long as it, and I did hit one profit target here at $9.20 also. So I may just take this off. I don't like this big rejection here, and I'm starting to run out of shares because this has been such a big move. But So far, entry to current close, 8.33%. So this has been a really good trade. I have not made that much because I scale out and I took profits and so forth, but just from entry to exit, this has been really good. But very likely I'm going to exit my Zanga today because I already sold half here and now we've rejected the 50-day moving average and it's up over 8%. So very likely I'm going to be taking this off today. Amazon, these are not directional trades. These are puts that I sold. I sold premium on Amazon. I sold premium down to $2,300 expiring November 20th. If the price stays above $2,300 by November 20th, I will be able to keep all of the premium that I received. I picked $2,300 because of the 200 and the 250 acting as support above on the daily. On the weekly, I am down near that third ATR channel and I have the 50-week moving average above me. On the monthly, I have the 1 ATR and the 20 EMA as support. So whenever I sell puts, cash secured puts, I always look for confluence of signals, confluence of support on multiple time frames. It doesn't mean that it can't go down through that. It definitely happens, but I think you give yourself a better chance if you can identify on the chart where you have support on multiple time frames. But anyway, this is good. I've made over 50% of the premium I'm going to make in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So it started off really good. And this is a big position because selling even one contract of Amazon is selling, selling 100 shares, which is a lot when you're $3,000 a share. Okay, Apple. I also sold puts on Apple at $77.50 expiring November 20th. So as long as the price can stay above $77.50, I will be able to keep all the premium if it closes above come November 20th. I picked the $77.50 mark because of the 200 and the 250 above me on the daily. On the weekly, similar to Amazon, I'm down near the negative third ATR channel, 50-week moving average above. And on the monthly, I have the 1 ATR channel and the 20 EMA and this previous high, which was resistance, which it also acts as support. So those are nicely in the money as well. Before I forget, Frank has an average price of $111 on Apple, and Kamal, boy, I'm going to have to go through and show you the day trade before I get to that, I guess. All right. I did short Apple here. We had this big bar down. We rallied back into it. We couldn't hold the halfway mark. Here we lost the 50 RSI. Here we lost the 50-day moving average. We had to close below the previous low. I shorted here at 114.35. Immediately went down my way. It started to stabilize, washed out these lows, closed back above the 100. So I decided to take profit. So I shorted at 114.35 and I covered at 113.93. So that was a good little trade. And that was about it on Apple. And let's see. So Frank is in at 111 on Apple and Kamal is in at 113.44. So they're both up on the trade, even though Apple is slightly down today. Excuse me. Exxon, I did have a pretty good little trade on Exxon, I gotta say. I bought Exxon here on the 5-minute. You can see we make a low, we make a lower low, but there's no red MACD bars to be found. I really like when that happens. Double bottom with the bullish divergence. This is actually a missing right shoulder. I was waiting to buy until it went over 30 RSI. I entered here at 34.08. I like that it entered back up into the value zone. Moved sideways, held the 30 RSI, then we had a nice leg up. I got out of half the position here when we lost the 50 RSI at 34.20. I got out of the second half of the position when we closed below the previous day's low at 34.18. So I got in at 34.08, out of half at 34.18, out of half at 34.20. I was thinking about buying this when it came back down into the value zone, but I didn't. That's okay. And then lastly, AGQ. And I'm going to go over this in a second because I know a bunch of you have it, but I couldn't let you have all the fun on AGQ without me, so I did buy here. We had a nice return to value. We had a lot of nice sideways motion. My students will know when we're above value, wait for it to start consolidating, find some support, wait for a V1 or a V2 entry. Came here, we had a false breakout to the downside and a V1, rejection of the -1 ATR channel. I got in at 44.34 and it took off like a rocket ship, just beautifully, beautifully, beautifully. I decided to get out here when we had this bearish engulfing bar. We lost the 5, we lost the 10. We had a close below the previous day's low. So I did get in at 44.34 and I got out at 44.74. So if my math is right, that's 40 cents. So not too bad. Okay. I think that's it. All right. Hey, Steve Burns is here. Good to see you, my friend. Always an honor and a privilege to have the great Steve Burns here. Thank you so much, Steve. I mean, really, I never take it for granted. I know not, all of us, we don't take it for granted. It's just always such a treat and a pleasure to have Steve right here in the chat with us. Steve says, definitely a September to remember. Yes, it is. Frank has a poem. Let me copy this. Beware of traders that are a bit too smug. They may be sweeping losses under the rug. I knew where that was going. High risk trades can pay, but when a miss, they never say. So toe the line and you'll do fine. Not every trade is a gold mine. Oh man, that is so good and so true. You know the traders, right? You always hear about their winners, but you never see the losers. I'm sure we've all experienced that. Let's try it one more time. Beware of traders that are a bit too smug. They may be sweeping losses under a rug. High risk trades can pay, but when a miss, they never say. So toe the line and you'll do fine. Not every trade is a gold mine. That's so freaking good, Frank. Man. That is just top notch. Gary says, good poem, Frank. You should consider publishing them. I 100% agree. Kamal says, nice one. 100%. Hey, Quad, good to see you, buddy. Frank says, thanks, Gary and Kamal. Tracy says, when you get out of something, specifically Zynga today, do you do it at the end of the day or you just sell when you decide to? No, I have profit targets that I will get out of any time during the day, but I have them programmed into my platform. But as far as exiting like Zynga, yes, I wait till the end of the day. You know, I consider the end of the day prices, Tracy, to be the most valid. So, you know, unless it hits my emergency stop during the day, then I have to get out whatever time it is. But as far as making trades, you know, if they haven't hit my emergency stop, I wait till the end of the day to make my decisions because I want to see what the large financial institutions are doing. Hope that helps, Tracy. Steve says VIX is edging closer to a 1030 EMA crossover. Oh, that's not going to work. I think that will work. Yep, that's what Steve's talking about, the 1030 EMA crossover. If it can cross under, that's going to be positive for stocks. It's still over slightly. VIX is up a little bit today. Interesting. Kamal says, thank you, Steve Burns, for the modified stop idea on AGQ. Yeah, that was a good one, right? Where is AGQ? Right here. Well, let's get to it and get through it. So Frank took a half position, Quad, Steve, Kamal, Yas, all bought AGQ back here about 41.41. This is a great confluence with an under 30, over 30, and a rejection of the negative 100-day moving average. This does not happen very often. And throw in a V1. I bought this here as well, but I unfortunately got stopped out when we closed below the 100-day. So close to greatness, right? But what Kamal is talking about was Steve, instead of using the 100-day as his stop, was going to use a close below the previous day's low, which sometimes works out, sometimes it doesn't. That's the thing. You follow your rules. You're always going to be disappointed either that you followed them or that you didn't follow them. But let's focus on the positive. Frank, Quad, Steve, Kamal, and Yas. Beautiful trade so far on silver. So far, entry to exit approximately 9.13%. So congratulations to everybody. That is fantastic. Really great to see that. This is one of the trades that I wanted to point out today. It's just a monster. What else do we have? LVGO. So Frank bought LVGO at 132.50. He sold half at the close the next day for a profit. I don't know why I have this one here. I think somebody else got out of that. But it's up 1.3% today. So, Frank, I'm glad you kept your other half. I'm sure you wish you would have the entire amount. But a win is a win. It's up 1.24% today and nicely up on the trade. All right. Bob M. and Gary have a long position in Intel. Bob bought Intel back here at 49.22. I remember I took this trade. Under 30, over 30, V2, back in the value zone. Kind of hung around, didn't do much, then had a nice leg up, a nice leg down, nice leg up, nice leg down. Now we've had a nice leg up again. So very good to see that. Down just a little bit today, but off of its lows. So Bob is nicely in the money on this trade, and so is Gary. Gary sold the November 20th 45.40 credit spreads, put credit spreads, meaning that as long as Intel stays above $45 by November 20th, Gary will keep all the difference between the spreads that he sold and he bought at 45.20. So those are going well. Very nice. Very, very nice. And Bob's doing well with the directional trade. Okay, we already talked about SPY. Google, Stephen Burns did buy Google at 1421.86 with the bounce near the 30 RSI and the bounce off the 200. Initially went up, went down, up a little bit today, up 0.16%, but both David and Steve are nicely in the money on this trade. And Gary sold puts down at $1,200. Expiring November 20th. Why do I have 1150 puts? They were 1200. So as long as it stays above 1200, Gary will keep all the money for writing those puts. LVS, Gary did buy calls on LVS back here on the 17th. He bought the November 20th $50 strike price calls, not puts, but calls, meaning that it have to be above $50 in order for Gary to make money on these calls. Otherwise, they would expire worthless. Right now, they're at 46.75, so they're out of money. So Gary is a little bit down on these trades, but I think Gary mentioned to me he is going to be taking the loss on this today. Brian bought Electronic Arts at 129.37. Right now it is 129.54, so he's still slightly up on the trade, but it is down 2% today, but he is slightly up on the trade still. PayPal, Brian had a nice entry on PayPal at 183.40. It is 195.05, up 1.57, so up on the day, up on the trade. Bob bought Shill back here at 46.68. Man, this stock is a mover. It was initially up, then went crashing down, and it's rallied like a monster. So it is up 7% today. He is up on the trade, and it is also up 7% on the day. GDXJ, that's Yas. Yas bought GDXJ at 58.35, originally up, then down. Has rallied off the lows. It is up today, but a little bit down on the trade. Disney, Gary and Son bought Disney at 124 even with the rejection of the 200-day moving average. It is down today, but he is up on the trade. Shopify, look at this one, everybody. This is the Kamal we all know and love. Look at this trade. V2, fractal, bought at 960 even. It is now 1,026.70, up 6.22% just today, and that puts it about 6.34% up on the trade. So congratulations. This is the Kamal that I know. Kamal has these kind of trades, and I've never seen Kamal take big losses. And that's what you need in trading. You don't want to have big losses. I've seen him turn into huge gains. I've seen him give back some gains, but that's okay. What you do to the upside, I'm not so fussed about. But what you can't do is let your losses get out of control, and I never see Kamal do that. TVTY, Bob, bought a nice close back above the 200-day moving average, giving himself a good risk to reward ratio. He bought it at 13.65. It is up 0.5% today, and he is nicely up on the trade. And lastly, IBB. This is Steve Burns. Steve Burns did buy IBB yesterday with the 530 EMA crossover. This is a good back-tested moving average crossover approach. He bought it at 134.44. It is currently 134.78. So it is up on the day and up on the trade. Okay, so listen, before we start going down through the watch list, before I start looking for an end of day trade, remember 3 requirements, always. First requirement, you have to have a good confluence or combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames. That's 1. Number 2, you want to make sure you have a good risk to reward ratio based upon support below you and likely resistance above you. 2-to-1 is my minimum requirement. And number 3, want to make sure that you're always aware of how much account heat you have, how many positions you have, how correlated they are, okay? But before we do that, I just want to switch gears real quick, talk a little bit about trader psychology, good trading words of wisdom. There's some really good channels out there on Twitter and Facebook, and this is from Akil Stokes. Now, Akil Stokes is on Twitter also. Let me take a look. Yeah, at Akil Stokes RTM, at Akil Stokes RTM on Twitter. But this is from the Facebook group, the New Traders, Rich Traders, also from Akil. But if you haven't applied to be a member of that group, you really should. It's a great channel on Facebook, trading channel. Akil's there, Steve Burns there, Tom Basso's there, Kamal's there, I'm there. But let's see what Akil has to say. The trader you become is the result of your effective best practices turned into habits compounding daily. And this is by Mike Bellafiore. And I've read one of Mike's book, One Good Trade. He runs a proprietary trading firm in New York City, and the book One Good Trade is really great if you kind of want to learn how these floor traders and these prop trader, the culture of that. And Mike is also an educator, but it's a really good book. He really knows what he's doing. But the trader you become is the result of your effective best practices turned into habits compounded every day. Whether it's trading, whether it's playing the guitar, whether it's getting good at sports. My mom always said, it's not how you practice. You have to have perfect practice. You have to practice exactly the perfect way. And in regards to trading, your effective you have to have best practices. Position size correctly. Know where your emergency stop is. Adjust for volatility. Have a defined entry. Have a clean trade. Get out quickly at your end of day loss or your emergency stop. Get out profits to the upside if that's how you trade, right? But you take your best practices in trading, small losses, break-even trades, small wins, big wins, and you have to do it every single day. I mean, if part of your best practices is putting a Bjorn Borg headband on your head before you trade, perfect. Then you got to do it every day, or you have to put on your lucky socks. I don't care, right? But have your best practices, practice it perfectly, do it every day, and then if you do it every day, it's turned into a habit, and that's what you need. You need to develop good positive habits, not bad habits, right? So anyway, this is very, very true. Thank you, Akil Stokes. Thank you, Mike Bellafiore. And again, go over to the New Rich Traders channel on Facebook. Subscribe over at Akil Stokes. And again, he's on Twitter at Akil Stokes RTM. He's a trading coach, has a really good channel over there. All right. Steve says, half the battle of trading is managing a trade so with either a small win or a big loss. I'm sorry, a small loss or a big win. Disregard what I first said. So it is a small loss or a big win. Alan, hey, Alan, good to see you. Hey, Greg, at the end of the day, when you purchase SPY, are you buying a call contract in the money? No, I'm just buying the shares in the actual ETF, Alan, of the SPY, ticker SPY. I think some people do buy calls and then they sell them the next morning. I don't know. I haven't seen any data on how that back test, but no, I buy the SPY, the actual underlying. I buy the SPY, certain amount of shares every day, and I program it in the middle of the day. So it just buys automatically, and then when the markets close, I just tell the system, sell it tomorrow, first thing. Steve says, BABA has a 520 EMA crossover. All right, let's put that over here. AMD. DDM. Disney has a 1050 EMA cross under the Loch Ness Monster dive. It's interesting you say that. I was watching something on Netflix about the Loch Ness Monster. So Disney has the cross under is what you're saying, huh? Where's my EMA? There's the SPY. I'm in that. So Disney. Oh yeah, it does have the under. You are right, Steve. Okay. Gary says, thanks for the cross under info, Steve. I will be exiting Disney today with a small gain. Fantastic. Frank says, bravo, Kamal. Kamal says, Greg did give his approval on the shop trade. Yeah, I remember talking about that, and what I remember is we looked at it before the close of the day. And when we looked at it on the day, it had not closed above the 50 RSI yet. And so that's what I was concerned about. And then at the end of the day, it snuck its way up there. And yeah, I mean, you have a higher low V2, you have a fractal. Here's the high, fractal, high with two lower highs to the left, two lower highs to the right. I'm bummed I didn't take this trade, but I remember looking at it and doing my analysis, and it was like right at 48 or 49. I was like, I don't usually buy at 48 or 49, but had I seen it over 50, very likely, because it's a higher low V2 with a fractal, and MACD went positive. But nonetheless, I am really glad Kamal has it. Beautiful trade, bud. Steve says, QLD had a 1050 EMA cross over today. Flying Dragon. Okay, QLD is double leveraged, double leveraged Qs, I believe, right? I think I'm just going to wait for the 520 crossover on the Qs. That's a good back-tested one. Steve says, thanks, Frank. Okay. Let me take a look at my current positions here, see if anything needs to be done before I look at anything else. All right, 520 is still holding on Etsy. SPY, if I come over here, currently in SPY, price is still above the 10 and the 50, so that will be in the holding pattern. Zynga, again, I did hit one profit target. I'm going to exit Zynga today. Rejected the 50-day moving average. Don't want to be a pig about this. This is an ugly bar. Makes sense for me to exit here, and I did hit one profit target. Amazon, Amazon's picked up some speed to the downside. So did Apple. And there's Exxon. Darn. I was really looking to buy Exxon down here, but I didn't get it quite. The podcast was starting and there wasn't a real exact entry signal. But again, return to value, everybody. Remember that. Hey, Jesse, what's going on, buddy? Always good to have Jesse here. Always an honor and a privilege to have Jesse here. If you haven't checked out his channel, Jesse is a previous student of mine. Has a great channel on Twitter called Ranger Trader. And check it out. It's really good. Jesse says, hi, Greg and group. I texted Marcus and also emailed him. Haven't heard back. Okay. Thank you for doing that, Jesse. I appreciate that. Jesse's coming to the rescue to help something out with the technical issue with Thinkorswim. Okay. Well, let's go down through the list here and see what's happening. Neurobiosciences has an under 30, over 30 with a V2. I like that there hasn't been a huge move down. It's been nice and gradual, which is a good sign. We also had a false breakout of this previous low and rally back up. I am definitely considering this one. 31,000 shares. On the weekly, we're holding support at the 100 week moving average, so that's probably why it picked it up on Kamal's scanner. But this is what I'm talking about, multiple confluences here. We rejected the 100 on the week, and we have also rejected the 30-day or the 30 RSI on the daily. So this is a possibility. TSN, higher low V1, no crossover though. It's rejected the third ATR channel, so I'm going to take that one off. Tesla did have a 520 crossover yesterday. That is a valid back-tested approach to buying Tesla when the 5 crosses over the 20. Had you bought it yesterday, though, you would already be down 0.75. I liked it earlier in the day when the crossover was in place and we had a V1, but now we don't. It's untriggered the V1. It is holding the 10-day, so I think I'm just going to let that one pass. Netflix. Kamal wanted me to put this on here. I don't see a crossover. There is a fractal triggered. Here's a high with two lower highs to the left and 2 lower highs to the right. So a fractal is triggered. MACD is getting close to crossing, but we already have rejected the 50 RSI. So I think I'm going to just take that one off. IRM has a higher low V1 and an under 30 over 30 and an under the negative third over the negative third. That is all positive. See, here's the higher low V1, and the higher low V1 happened when we went under the negative third over the negative third, which is good. There's over 1 million shares traded, so that's good. The 100 and the 200 is a little bit of concern right above. Let's take a look at the weekly. You know what? Last week's really big down bar, I just am going to let that one go. Whenever I have these skyscraper bars as a previous bar, that just means there was a lot of shares dumped here. There was a lot of supply coming into the market. So does it mean we can't go right back up? But no, it's less likely. And then especially with that 100 and the 200 above me, I think I'm going to let that one go. What is that, by the way? Iron Mountain Incorporated. Okay. GoDaddy. Well, don't like this now. We rejected the 50-day moving average. We've rejected the 50 RSI. So that one gets taken off. Good old Cody. Cody has tried like valiantly to get above the 30 RSI, and every time it does, sellers come in. They sold here, and I don't think it got above 30 here, but yeah, nothing here on Cody. SSRM, SSR Mining. Nice move down, sideways motion, V1. This would have to close above the 200 for me to be interested. If I look over on the weekly, we again have another big down bar, but in this is a little better because it bounced off the -1 ATR channel and it bounced off the 50 week moving average, which is positive. But you know, whenever you have a big down move and you have sidewards motion, it means that buyers are coming in. So this is a potential. We'll put this over in the potential category. PayPal has a 520 crossover. I did backtest this. It does not backtest very well. You would have thought that PayPal would backtest well with the 520. I mean, strong over the 50 RSI. MACD went positive over the 50-day moving average and the 520 crossover. But again, it doesn't backtest that well. So I'm going to take that one off. Lululemon. Back in the value zone, which is good, but you know, I would rather it come in back into the value zone than have a bit of a sell-off and grab that higher low V1, V2. Could be good. MACD went positive here, but that's about it. We're close to the 50 RSI, so I'm going to say no on that one. DBI, Designer Brands. No double bottom with the bullish divergence here. I don't think it rejected the 50 or the 30 RSI. Nope. NKTR. Rejected the -30 ATR channel and a V1, but it's not above the 30 RSI yet. I think there's better than this. Alibaba, yeah, looks pretty good. We have a 520 crossover, which does backtest well on Alibaba. So let me put this here and do some math on that. Okay, so, you know, here's a fractal. We have a 520 crossover. It's above the 50 RSI. That one makes sense to me. And AMD, does it have it? 7907, 7903. Let me check and do the back test on this. What is that, AMD? Yeah, here we go. Okay. I'm using this by permission from etfreplay.com, written permission. You can see the 520 crossover does backtest well, 962.7 with the backtest compared to only 279.6 with the buy and hold. Backtest has a drawdown of 80%. Buy and hold has a drawdown of 96.6%. So, but let's look at that chart again. So if we look at Alibaba, it's rejected the second ATR channel. If we look at AMD, it is holding above the second ATR channel. So I do like that one a little bit better. 7910, 7904. So yes, currently that is a valid, and it's happening right here in the value zone, which I like. So let me do some math on that. Alibaba has a little gentler, it's a little closer, which would give a little better risk to reward. Alibaba is, I'm not Alibaba, AMD is a little more extended, but percentage-wise, it is higher. I like AMD better. I like AMD because we're above this second ATR channel on the weekly, whereas Alibaba has already rejected the second above. Does that make sense? See how it's already rejected? And also AMD has made a higher high where Alibaba has rejected yesterday's high. So with that being said, I do like AMD. SSRM, I think I'm just going to let that one go. Although it does look like it's closing over the 200. And NBIX. Let me take a look at some of the intraday bars and see what kind of volume and kind of action we're getting. All in all, to me, AMD looks the best. It has a good back-tested approach, has the 520 crossover, well above the 50-day moving average, above the 50 RSI. Looks like MACD could possibly go positive tomorrow, and I like it better on the weekly. So that's going to be my pick today. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of Zynga right now while I'm thinking about it. And just lock in all that and be done with that trade. Okay. So I am selling all of my Zynga and just locking that in and going flat on Zynga. Okay. Well, I haven't traded AMD in a long time. But my favorite here today is AMD. As long as we have the crossover, it's 79.09 compared to 79.03. Steve says, I'm looking at taking DDM, QLD, and MA if their crossovers hold. Oh, MA crossed over also? Are we talking the 1050 EMA? $10.50 SMA maybe? I must be missing something on MA there. Okay, so Steve bought QLD 9049 based on the 1050 EMA crossover. So that's double leveraged. Keep in mind, everybody, that is double leveraged technology or NASDAQ. QLD. There you go. There's the crossover right there. Nice. Match group over the 50 and over the 50-day moving average. MACD looks like it's going positive, but I think that's about it. Kamal. Sprouts Fresh Market. You know, it's trying to get above that 200 with a MACD crossover, or a bullish MACD cross, which is good, but it would have to get above the 200. Oh, okay. So Steve's talking about the 1030 EMA on Master. Oh, now it's slightly under. Oh, now they're exactly the same. Now it's slightly under. So that one's going to be a photo finish. All right, I'm looking for AMD to come down a little bit if possible. All right, so I'm buying AMD at the end of the day. That's what I'm doing. I have not traded AMD in dog's years. So I'll watch that at the end there. How's our AGQ doing? Or your guys' AGQ doing? Okay, so we had a bit of a sell, but now we have some sideways motion here. Just had a V1, that's positive. Apple's down 96 cents now. Dow's down 114 points. Nas is down 28. S&P is down 14. I better make sure that AMD has the crossover that I want. It currently does. And a lot of volume. Steve's long DDM, 45.88. Going to try to hold out here to the end of the day. Glad to see Google still positive here. So far, this wait on AMD has been a good idea. One minute to go. All right, I'm going to pull the trigger here. And pull the trigger here. Okay, that's it. And I will be buying SPY, of course, at the end of the day for the overnight SPY trade. Okay, so that is that. Let's take a look here. So I bought overnight SPY trade at 332.37, and I bought AMD at 81.78. Oh, I'm glad it waited till the end there. So 332.37 is the overnight SPY trade. And AMD, where's AMD? 81.78. Oh, whew, good. Yes, the 5 is still over the, okay, good. $81.78. All right. I can get rid of Exxon. So I'm going to put this over here. Zynga over there like so. And I am out of Zynga. One profit target, but here at the very end, it just thoroughly rejected that 50-day moving average. And it was such a big trade up that I'm not going to get greedy about it. All right, so if you have some new trades today, if you have some new entries or exits, go ahead, put it in the chat, and I'll get them all updated. Just real quick before I do, just want to remind everybody that I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time via Skype. I have a course that is 15 hours, 5 sessions, 3 hours per session for a total of 15 hours. I have been trading for over 24 years. I have studied with some real great traders, authors, trading masters like Steve Burns, Kerry Lavorne, Larry Williams, Dr. Alexander Elder. I've studied one-on-one with each one of these gentlemen, and what I teach in the course is a combination of everything I've learned from these 4 gentlemen. Different combinations, different approaches that you can use in whatever market condition we have, whether we're trending to the upside, we have deep dip buys, we're moving sideways. It's a really good course. It is $1,000, but I think it's worth every penny. I think it's worth a lot more than that based upon, the attention that you get and what I teach, the quality of what I teach. And so if you are interested in taking the course, please reach out to me. This is a good time. I just got done with a bunch of students, so my schedule is more open now than usual. So if you'd like to send me an email, my email is in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. And if you do reach out to me, I'll reply, say, hey, how's it going? Thanks for saying hi. Let's set up a Skype call. Skype call is an informational call only. It is not a sales call. I promise you, I just like to get to know you better. Like to learn more about your trading and your challenges and your goals and how you're trading, and then it's a good time for you to ask me questions about the course. And when we're done, like I said, I'm not going to ask you, hey, do you want to take the course? I'm just going to say it's great talking to you, think it over, and if you decide you want to take the course with me, you know how to get a hold of me, just email me back, okay? And then if you like today's podcast, if you find it helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It helps to keep the channel around, helps to grow the channel, helps YouTube to know that there's some positive things about this channel that people like. All right. Okay. So those are my 2 little plugs on the day. Hope that's okay with you. So let's see here. Okay. I know Steve took something up here. Okay. QLD. Steve bought QLD, which is, oh, okay. QLD. Oh, the 1050. All right. Let's do it this way. Okay. And Steve bought at 90.49. Gotcha. DDM. Steve also bought DDM 1050 EMA. 1050 EMA. Okay, and that crossed over? Oh, exactly the same number, which does count as a crossover. 4588. Okay. Oh, Steve took AMD. Okay. All right. So we'll put Steve up there. Brian says, out of SPY with a slight profit, out of ABT. Okay. Okay, I think I accidentally took you off of that already, Brian, on SPY, or did I? Because I have, yeah, I guess I accidentally took you off, but okay, you're out then. Brian says, out of ABT. Okay. Looks like a profitable trade, Brian. Nice. And EA. That looks like a positive trade still, so very good. Day traded AMD earlier and we'll go back in. Okay, Tracy said, these stocks you buy at the end of the day of each session, do you sell them at the open the next day or hold them, or does it sometimes depend? The only one that I buy at the close and I sell the next morning, Tracy, is the SPY. That's the SPY trade. These other stocks that I'm buying here, no, I will not sell them at the open because I have a different plan for them. I have different end of day stops. You know, I took crossover, so I'm waiting for a cross under to get out, but just in general, no. The only stock that I buy at the close and sell first thing the next morning is the SPY, and I do that every day. The other ones, you know, I always buy my stocks at the end of the day, but I have different exits based upon what strategy that I got into them. Okay, SSRM is Kamal. Oh, it did close above the 200. Nice, Kamal. All right. Good luck on that, bud. Gotcha. Talk about a good risk to reward ratio. Look at that. 1853, 1856. If it closes at 1852 tomorrow, or whatever the 200-day moving average is tomorrow, Kamal's out. That's a great example of having strong support below you. And if you're wrong, being wrong small. If he's right, he could be right all the way up to here, and I hope he is right. Dan says, let's raise our thumbs. Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you could, I would really appreciate that if you could hit the thumbs up button. Okay, Gary is out of Zynga. Gary is also out of Disney for a profit. Nice. Now you can take your son to Disneyland. You're out of the Las Vegas calls. I think that's a good idea. They just weren't working, you know. You're out of the AMAT calls. Okay, I didn't have you up here, but we talked about that earlier, but I didn't have those up on the board. Okay. Gary M is in AMD. Frank is in AMD. 1/2. Stopped out of Etsy. Okay. That's a good small stop. Very, very small loss. Very good, Frank. And you've got Apple. Right. I got you an Apple, and we still have LVGO. Correct. Kamal says, Frank, you added to your Apple position? I don't think he did. I think he was just mentioning that he still had Apple, but I could be wrong. But I think that's the case. Yes, in AMD. Bob is out of Intel. Okay. Nice little profitable trade there on Intel for you, Bob. Congratulations. So I still have Gary Intel, but they're puts. There we go. Brian says, that means I got into AMD at 81.30. So you are in AMD? Okay, Brian, I'm just going to put you here. I'm not going to put different entry points because I always confuse who they are and what they are. And it's too many calories to burn. So, when somebody's in here, I'm just going to put everybody in, and you'll just have to remind us that it was at a little lower price. Brian says, sent earlier message 2 minutes before which closes, which might have been confusing. Oh, okay. Okay. SPY is rallying after hours. Hey, that's good. Yes, it is. Nice. Up $1.15. Good for the old overnight SPY trade. That's great. Qs are up nice. All right, that's a good sign. Thanks, Bob, for letting us know. Gary says, hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks, Greg, for all the help and advice. You are certainly welcome, Gary. You are certainly welcome. So, my current positions, looks like I have Quad and myself left in Etsy. SPY, the overnight SPY trade, but that seems like it's working out pretty well so far. Amazon puts. Oh, and Glenn had Amazon. I forgot to mention that at $29.59. So right about, I think that's right. Sorry, guys. All these charts, all these people's names, I do my best, but sometimes I get them mixed up. Apple, of course, have the puts. Sold the puts, not bought. And AMD, Yas and Steve and Gary and Frank. So that's my new position today. And I did exit Zynga for a nice little trade there for sure. And I think I still have Quad and Zynga. Okay. If anybody has any other questions, this would definitely be the time to let me know. It's a beautiful day here in Utah. Man, it is just beautiful. I'm looking forward to my hike. And I want to watch the debate tonight. I don't have a TV. Like, I don't have cable, so I imagine I can watch it online somewhere, right? I would hope so. And I would imagine it's going to have an effect on the futures. I would imagine. Who knows? But I could be wrong. I often am. Okay. So AMD's up a little bit. Amazon is up just a skosh. Etsy's up a little bit after hours. Q's up 58 cents. SPY's up 90 cents. Apple up 22. This is all good news. This is all good news. A lot of things can change, though, between now and then, that's for sure. Tracy says, come watch with Packy on our TV. Oh, well, thank you for the invite, Tracy. I may have someone coming over tonight. I'm not 100% sure, and that would affect my decision. But thank you very much to you and Paxton for that, and I may take you up on it. I'll have to text you later. Kamal says, thank you, Greg. Happy hiking. Thanks, buddy. Really glad to see that great trade on AGQ for you today and on Shopify. Fantastic, outstanding. Kamal, I think, is back in his groove. That's what I'm saying. You know, Kamal, he's either super hot or he's just taking small losses, and that's the way it should be. Frank says, you really need a thick skin to trade stock. Yes, that is true. I thought we all knew that. Bob says, thanks, Greg. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. All right. Okay. See y'all, Bob. All right. Well, listen, have a good rest of your day. Please try to go out and do something nice for somebody. Just a smile, a wave, hello, just some kind of nice gesture. Really might make their day if everybody did that for at least one person in the whole world every day. Man, the world would be a whole lot better place. So maybe we can start it, right? And then if you could also go out and try to do something nice for an animal today, that would be doubly as nice. Just take them on a walk, throw the ball, give them a little cuddle, talk to them. Animals love when you talk to them, especially your pets. They really do. So one nice thing for a human, one nice thing for an animal. And who knows? Maybe it will improve your trading. I think it will. Okay. Well, I think that's it. Thanks again for coming. Have a good rest of your day. Be good. Be kind. Be safe. And I think that's it. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming, everybody. Bye.
U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.